Everybody, welcome to my very first live stream event. It's so exciting to be here at TNA Studios in Miami, Florida. Miami is rocking. For those of you not in Florida, not in South Florida, I'm sorry about that, everybody. Miami is rocking. It's happening. My name is Ross Mandell, and I'm here today with the A from TNA, Andrew Delgado.
What's up, man? My name's Andrew Delgado. I am the A and TNA Associates here in Miami, Florida. And we have the pleasure of having Mr. Ross Mandell.
What's shaking, my brother?
We're going to do a couple of questions, couple of introductions, give away everything that he's going to come out with, he has done, is doing. And I mean, I say we started right up. I wanted to talk to you about exactly who you are, what you've done, where you've been. How do we get to today? I don't know what today's date is, but here
It's a great question. We should know that, right?
Yeah, I know it's a Monday.
It's like May 20th.
My Mondays and Sundays are fused.
Let me jump right in. All right.
Let
me jump right in. My name is Ross Mandell. Everybody, how are you? I'm a 67-year-old man, born in Brooklyn, New York, raised in the 5 towns. Long Island, New York, a Lawrence High School boy, University of Maryland graduate. It's so exciting to be here with everybody. Really, I can't tell you enough. So when I was 16, my father passed away instantly, dropped dead literally at Rosh Hashanah dinner. Died of a heart attack, massive heart attack, era of Rosh Hashanah, which is the Jewish New Year. It's a very meaningful, special holiday. It's a Happy New Year, and my father passed away that night, never saw him again. I'm 16 years old. I have a younger brother who's 13 at the time. My mother was a 38-year-old widow all of a sudden. And we woke up the next day to find out everything was mortgaged, leased, or borrowed. And it was really an earth-shattering moment. I was angry. I was angry as fuck. I was nasty. I was mean. I was very self-centered and just out of control. I smoked. Someone gave me a joint right after the funeral, and I instantly felt better. That one hit of weed changed my life. And from that moment on, September 27th, 1973, I'm 16 years old, right up until October the 11th, 1990, 17 straight years, I was stoned, I was drunk, I was looted out.
Wow.
I was just in another world. As my nephew Steven says, bro, I was tuned up. I was just on a mad run. I just didn't want to feel anything. I just couldn't deal with this rage and this terrible feeling I had inside me. I was a good kid. I like to say I was a God-fearing kid. I was a jock. I was into sports and athletics. I had friends and little girlfriends, and I had tried weed and I had drank in the neighborhood with the guys. 16 years old, healthy. I think I had a healthy curiosity, and wham! It all ended the day my father passed away. I just literally snapped. I went nuts. God was dead to me, and I just didn't care. And when you run into somebody in this world that doesn't care if he lives or he dies. He doesn't care if he succeeds or fails. Just doesn't care. That's a dangerous person.
Yeah.
Right? Because I didn't care.
Yeah.
Didn't matter what happened. And so I would go through life just looking to feel better every day. And it didn't matter what it was. If we were taking pills that day, I wanted more. If we were drinking, you all went home, I wanted to drink more. If we were snorting drugs, I always wanted more. If we were out and we were meeting girls and women, I wanted more. If we were driving in a car, I wanted to go faster. So everything about me was more. To this day, when I am asked to speak at a 12-step meeting or in a group, my drug of choice is still more. And it's been hurtful to me over the course of my life. It's denial is a river in Egypt, they say. I suffered from extreme denial. I was an angry young man, very self-centered. I just a garden variety addict, nothing special in that sense. So what happens to me? I barely get through high school. I get to college. I meet a bunch of cool guys. We cheat our way through school, literally. I'm not proud to say it, but let's get honest here, okay? Otherwise, why would you tune in if I'm going to bullshit you? So to make a long story short, I was sort of a hip guy. I was that kid in a white Camaro, and I was smoking weed, and I was chasing women and chasing money, and people enjoyed hanging out with me. And so I hooked up with a bunch of very ambitious young men, go-getter types. They were very concerned with the future. Me, I just was living for the moment, you know, uh, going from my, one high to the next. But, I was able to recognize sharp kids,
Yeah.
kids that had something going for them. And eventually those kids would lead me to Wall Street. After we got out of college and we went into the world, we were all salesman types, very
But wait, give me a timeline. So what year did you leave college already? Job?
No. So I graduated in 1975, Lawrence High School, Golden Tornadoes. Let's go. And then I went off to college. My freshman year, I went to SUNY at Albany, which I hated. Albany was the most dreadful place to go to school. It was cold and dark every day. I understand it's a lot nicer now. Probably not. But I'm going to say nice things here because that's who I am today. And myself, my roommate, and a bunch of kids that all went to Albany from high school, and a bunch of other kids at different schools decided we would all transfer together and go to University of Maryland, College Park. Yeah, go Terps. I ended up endowing that school. I gave them $500,000 in 2004, and
Gotta give back.
they still offer scholarship programs in my name. The Leaders for Tomorrow program. Go Terps. Love you guys. And to make a long story short, we transferred. We went to University of Maryland. I was with some very aggressive young men, and we figured out a way to to get by in school and to make the scene and to stay out of trouble as best as possible. And we eventually graduated. I graduated in December 1978. I went to the graduation. My mother came. It was a happy, happy moment. And then I went right into business. My family had been in the ladies' handbag business. My dad was a great salesman. He passed away, obviously. My uncle was still in the business. They invited me in as sort of an act of goodwill. Nobody really wanted to deal with me at the time because I was very wild. I was very crazy. Like most people that have an addiction or alcohol problem, we think we're hiding it well and that nobody knows.
Yeah.
Only after I got clean and went back into the world, people were like, thank God.
Yeah.
The whole world seemed to know what I thought nobody really knew. But I become a salesman, and I learned how to sell thanks to my long dead Uncle Harvey. Love you, Harvey. He used to push me out the door with a suitcase and send me into strange places. And I just had to learn how to get by. I just had to learn how to, make things happen.
Yeah.
And I learned something about selling. I learned, the sale begins and ends with you. If you're confident, if you know what you're talking about, if you're feeling it, you get into a zone, you get into a moment, and you could sell anything. And you could sell anybody anything. If you have real product knowledge and you're practiced and rehearsed as I am today, then it's quite easy. But back in the day, I was a 21, 22-year-old kid. I went out into New York City and I was told to sell ladies' handbags, and I didn't know a thing about them. And I quickly, the first 2 times I tried to sell, I tried to like bluff my way through, and that wasn't working. So by the 3rd time, I actually, it's my first day, and everyone's going to think I'm a loser. Please help me. And she goes, you're so cute, young man. And she wrote an order for 112 dozen. She goes, I'm going to buy a gross. And of course, being my first day in the field selling, I said, what's a gross? I didn't know what a gross was, 12 dozen. I had no clue. But she, Joyce Leslie Shops. I don't know if you're still in business, but love you guys. She gives me an order. I go back, and now the guys that owned the company that sent me out in the field, they expected me to fail miserably. And they wanted to go, see, it's not so easy. You want to be a big shot, you want money, etc. And because all I cared was how much am I going to get paid? Who's going to pay for the car?
Yeah.
Who's going to pay for my gas?
The normal.
Am I going to get a credit card, etc. And they were stunned. I came back with an order. They were just stunned. And I learned at that point in time, it had nothing to, the sale occurs between two people. And that would serve me well as I elevated my game and went into selling financial products, financial opportunities, stocks, etc. So that was good stuff. I was 22, 23. When I was 24, a friend called me up and said that he was going to go work at Merrill Lynch, and he's going to become a stockbroker. He was selling, what we call schmatters, garments in the garment center on 7th Avenue in Manhattan. And so he couldn't get hired anywhere at Merrill Lynch except in Houston, Texas. He went to work at the Galleria Mall. It's a big mall in Houston where they actually had indoor ice skating. And I'm talking, this is like 1980, 81. Shocking, right?
Yeah.
And he goes down there and he invites me to visit him. So I go down. He had a nice little rental place, and we hung out and we went around and we met women and we hung out. And frankly, I didn't really understand anything about this stockbrokering business. I didn't really care.
Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to inform you guys that we have 735 people on the line. 730.
Can they hear you?
They can. Yes.
You heard that? What's up, America? I love you people.
Here. We're in here.
Let me tell you what happens. I go back to New York and I'm, I'm doing my handbag thing. I'm traveling the country and I run into my friend with chatting and he goes, I made 400 grand this year. And I'm like, what? He goes, I made 400 grand this year. What? And, I never thought he was particularly smart. He was a clever kid and aggressive, but I didn't think he was much more than me. I'm proud. I'm making 150 grand a year. I'm 23. I have a credit card. I have a paid for car. And I'm like, what? 400 grand. What do you do? He goes, I sit around the office and I drink coffee and I make phone calls. I said, what?
That's the job for you.
I flew 150 cities, 150 times I flew in a year.
This was for the handbag business.
The handbag business, running around, schlepping bags, staying in hotels. And I was having fun. I got to see America, Columbus, Ohio, and St. Louis, Missouri, and California, and all over the place. And I became a partner real quick. And I'm selling these handbags, and I was pretty good at it. I mean, I sold 5,000 dozen handbags a week, 50 weeks a year. I kept the whole factory in the Dominican Republic busy. But if I could just hang out in Manhattan, go to the clubs every night, it was disco time, Studio 54, Xenon, Magique, the Underground. What? Do you remember?
Disco.
What?
That was a real thing.
It was wild. It was fantastic. And we were taking Quaaludes and we were drinking and we were doing coke and it was very glamorous. And it was just, we were like masters of the universe. Tom Wolfe wrote a book, a famous book. We were masters of the universe, us young stockbrokers and bond brokers and investment bankers and traders in the 80s.
Yeah.
We own New York. And what a city to own. Let me tell you, my guy here, it's terrible right now, which is it brings me such angst because it was a rocking city. It was the Mecca, the place to be. And so I quickly went to my partners in the handbag business and said, listen, guys, it's been real. I got to go. What are you going to do? I became partner. They were now relying on me selling. We made a deal. They bought me out, and I went to work for E.F. Hutton in August of 1983. They paid me $150 a week. Here I'm making like $3 grand a week in the handbag business. Plus, I had a credit card, so I charge another $1,000 a week. And I go to work for $150 a week, so I could afford the subway to get back and forth to work.
Okay.
Not good if you're an active addict and living in Manhattan. $150 a week. I was spending $150 an hour. So to make a long story short, the first few months you learn, you study the Series 7 books and you learn about bonds and stocks and insurance, et cetera, and yield to maturity and all kinds of crazy things you never really need once you actually get into the street. But, I became very practiced and rehearsed. I read a lot of books, so, I can educate myself pretty quickly on data like that and the substance of it all. And I passed the test and went back in, and they gave us 2 weeks of advanced sales training, which is, looking back, it was like a little bit of comedy. But, I fared fairly well in the advanced sales training. So they put us in a room, and there was like 150 of us. And we all got on the phone, and we started our cold calling the first time. and I was very nervous. And I was not the guy sitting here before you. I was very insecure, and I really didn't know if I understood and got this whole thing. I'm going to call strangers up, and I'm going to convince them to buy bonds and stocks, shit that I didn't even really know anything about. And they just push you on the phone, just like they pushed me out of the door with the handbags. And I dialed my first contact, and some guy answers the phone. You know, we started calling at 7 at night, 7 to 10. So we'd catch people at home, and they would give us these leads. And as soon as the guy answered the phone, I hung up. I was fucking nervous. It's crazy. I was scared.
Now, this was your first call?
My first cold call ever. And then the way it worked is there were 10 trained or seasoned brokers in E.F. Hutton sitting up front of the dais. And as soon as you got a lead on the phone, a contact, you'd raise your hand, and they would see your number 12, number 30.
Oh, so they're scoping you.
And they would answer, they would pick up the phone, and they would listen to you, and they would score you. So the first time I got somebody on the phone, I was supposed to raise my hand, but I hung up. I was too nervous. I didn't know what to say, even though we had a written script in front of us. Then other people around me are calling, they're pitching away, and the guys raising their hand, and guys are listening, going, you know, making, you know, nice gestures. And so I said, God damn it, I got to get Ross, you know, step up to the plate, man. What's the matter with you?
Little self-talk.
So I self-talk. And then I'm big with self-talk. So then I dial the phone again. I can't get through. Finally, the guy answers the phone again. I'm like, and then I hang up the phone again.
2 for 2.
I don't perspire much. I was an athlete when I was young. I used to do some wrestling and bodybuilding. And for some reason, I don't perspire much unless I'm really physically active, etc. And my hand is now sweating. And that phone is getting heavy. And I am scared shit. And everybody around me is performing. But I'm a very big, you know, monkey see, monkey do believer. I believe if you can do it and I can learn it from you or with you,
it's possible.
Or watch you, that I can probably do it. Maybe not as good as you, maybe a little different than you, but I think we're all very capable people. And we just need to know that in our heads and in our hearts. And then we need to have balls to execute, right? So the third time, I got a guy on the phone. I raised my hand and I gave him my little pitch. My name is Ross Mandell. I'm a sales associate with E.F. Hutton and Company, the investment bank and brokerage firm downtown on Wall Street. I'm sure you've heard of us. I'm sure you're very busy, Mr. Anderson. I don't want to take up too much of your time. You have a second to chat. He said, okay, son, what you got? I'm like, well, I got nothing for you today, Mr. Anderson, but 3, maybe 4 times a year, we isolate a very compelling situation in the capital gain sector of the stock market. Would you be open to pursuing a relationship potentially down the road? Can I send my track record, my mailing, to legitimize myself to you? And he's like, okay. And, the guy's, listening in, and I get the lead, and he shares with me. He owns a couple of stocks. He owns a couple of bonds. He's got some mutual funds. He's conservative. He'll put 10 grand in an idea, and I feel real good. I got a lead. Okay. And the guy heard me, and I didn't get a great score. I wasn't very good, and I was very nervous, but I felt accomplished. I got one down. I can do this, and I'll just get better. And that's my mentality. Okay. I'm not a quitter. I don't get discouraged. I don't understand rejection. It's just, I go. And to make a long story short, at the end of that week, we got scored, and I was like number 66, 67 out of 100.
Okay.
I'd say. So I was like not even I was right at the bottom of the top third, and nobody expected too much from me. And then, but I started to feel good about myself. I started to feel good. I started to understand. And, my theory is always that if you work hard, I'm going to work harder. I'm an addict. So anything that, I want to do that feels good to me, I can outdo anybody. It's just the way I am. It's part of my nature. So again, we start in business. We have our Series 7s, and they give us a phone book, and we start our calling. And at the end of, this is February, we began in February of 1984. By the end of 84, they kept score of everything. Lo and behold, Ross Mandell, who was really, the bottom of the top third out of this 150 people, whatever it was, ended up being number 1 in new accounts for the year and number 2 in gross commission. And I was sort of stunned, but I began to understand the psychology of this game. And I began to understand, I developed a little bit of a technique. I was always pretty good at talking to people. I was pretty good at explaining things. I've never had a problem asking for things. And it's just like I was a duck and they threw me in water and I figured out how to swim. And it's like I was born to do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And remember, so I'm still an addict. I'm still living in Manhattan. I need money. It's amazing.
Wait, so you're still getting this 150 a week?
Well, no. Once you started as a full-time stockbroker, Series 7, you get zero.
Oh,
that 150 was a stipend just so you could take the subway back and forth to work.
Oh,
so now Ross Mandell is got to open accounts and write tickets to live.
Yeah.
And I think my first month I did like 20,000 in business, and I was tops in my class. But I opened a lot of accounts. I made a lot of relationships, and before you knew it, I was a top producing guy. And my name became got out there on the street, but my name was a little soiled. Why? Because people knew I was wild. I was going out every night. I was drinking. I was smoking. I was snorting, etc. And I was having fun. But I worked. I showed up for work, and I made shit happen. And I was at E.F. Hutton, and because I was a star in the training class, the first class, they let me pick any spot I wanted to work in the country, in the world. I could have went to Hawaii, could have went to Tokyo, all over. They were all over the world. But I wanted to stay right in New York City, New York. There was an office 3 blocks from my home where I lived in a co-op in Murray Hill. And people are calling me. I turned my phone off, but they call me. My little iWatch answers the phone. It's crazy, right? So to make a long story short, I end up going to work at E.F. Hutton on 605 3rd Avenue in the Burroughs building. And I become like a star there. I get recruited to Oppenheimer and Company. From there, D.H. Blair. And everywhere I went, my production went up. I started to make $100,000 a month. I never earned less after that. To me, to go under 100,000 was a sin. It was like, what?
Something's not working.
Not me. It's okay for you. I don't hold it against you. But that's what we called in our business shooting par. In a golf course is designed with a professional score in mind. If you're a scratch golfer, if you can shoot golf the way the creator of the course can do it, you can make par on every hole. Okay, if you're over par, they call it a bogey. If you're under par, they call it a birdie. They got names for everything. And we take a lot of our business ideas and we bring sports terms into them. Just like, selling is pitching, right? Just like in baseball. You pitch, and when you pitch, you always have, the pitchers go into the bullpen first. You warm up before you pitch. I actually did a whole podcast before this YouTube Live. I'm tired. I'm pitched out, but I'm practiced. I feel good. I'm warmed up, I'm not cold. I'm not tight. So let me just say that it was a wonderful experience for me to shoot par in the brokerage business, which is my first $100,000 month, which was October of 1986. And I never earned less than $100,000 in a month ever since then. So, it's just people that know me know that's true and know the stories, et cetera, et cetera. But along the way, because of my active use of drugs and alcohol, I got in a lot of trouble. I became very abrasive and argumentative where, listen, there were misunderstandings and issues that come up in every single business. Because since my Wall Street days, I've been in literally 30 or 40 different businesses. And, there's oftentimes dissension, disagreement, misunderstandings. And, oftentimes a few kind words, a little sit down, a negotiation, a discussion, 2 like minds getting together saying, look, we're doing business. Let's work this out. People come together and make things comfortable, correct? In my case, because of my addiction and the progression of my disease, the guy told me to buy 5,000 shares of stock, and then I bought it. Maybe it went down a point. He said, well, I don't think I actually told you to buy it. And I'm like, go fuck yourself. We could have worked it out. We could have smoothed things over, but no, I had to be right. And it was very abrasive. And I had developed that quality to myself. And anyone that knows me today knows I'm the opposite. Anything can be worked out. And I've done that over the course of my life. even in prison, because that's what it's all about, is that, people coming together and agreeing. Even if you disagree, you can agree to disagree. And that often happens. I wish America was a little bit more like that right now. The political scene in this country is outrageous. It's no longer okay to disagree. And that's just not, we're in for a boatload of hurt right now as a country, because people have lost that sense of reason.
Yeah.
So my business, my understanding of the business, my understanding of the game of Wall Street, of financial products, of what brokers do, what traders do, what bankers do, what arbitrage is. I understood distressed debt. There wasn't an area or facet of the business I didn't become involved in. 100% across the board. And I was hungry for it. I wanted to know more. I finally found something that, like, I never saw myself as a professional. I just wanted to have party and have fun. I wanted to feel good.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now I was like part of something, and I was proud. And then in 1990, my ability to even show up became an effort. And then I knew I had to do something about this problem. So my idea was to check myself into a facility and just dry out for a couple of days. A place where there was no open bar.
Yeah.
No hookers, no limos, no drug dealers,
Yeah.
So I took a suite. I took the Truman Capote suite at the Silver Hill Foundation in New Canaan, Connecticut. Yo, Silver Hill. And I did a 28-day program. I only went for a few days to dry out. And while I was there, some very smart and very kind people convinced me that I had a problem, that I was a friggin' drug addict and alcoholic. And I entered the program, and I was very dubious at first. I was very uncomfortable. And then they forced me to go to my first AA meeting, October the 13th or October the 14th, 1990. And I did that against my own will. I mean, they literally, security had to accompany me to the meeting. I didn't want to go, but I didn't feel like I fit in.
Yeah.
I was a stockbroker
Beyond
on Wall
them.
Street. I'm a rich guy. I'm not going to go with a bunch of drunks.
Yeah.
Poor people. Meanwhile, guys show up in Ferraris, Mercedes, and beautiful women, and Rolexes, and Patek Philippe's, and you name it. And I'm like, what is this place? And everybody was so, everybody's eyes, I'll never forget, everybody's eyes were wide open. And I was like, I was suffering from paranoia and I was just isolated. I was alone. I felt apart from everything and everybody. And all of a sudden, everybody's huggy, touchy, feely, and like kind to each other. And I love that. I love that. It's something I hadn't felt in so long.
Yeah.
I crave that ability to just cozy up to another human being and say, babe, what's happening? How are you? And kiss them and say hello. It's like, I had no warmth in me like that. I was really damaged goods. I was hurt. I was in a bad place, much worse than I even realized, because I'm able to function even in these terrible spots. And I craved what everybody had. And then I heard them with the stories. And the first guy that spoke, I mean, he was a Wall Street guy, and he has a red Ferrari, and he's a hedge fund guy in New Canaan, Connecticut. He comes from
Made you feel at home?
From Greenwich. No, and I said, you know what? I want what he has. And right after the meeting, I ran up to him. I said, would you be my sponsor? I had heard the word sponsor like 10 minutes earlier. I'd never heard it before in my life. Not in the sense of a rabbi, a teacher, a learner, someone to help show you the ropes. I picked my sponsor because he was very good looking, and I loved the way he dressed and put himself together. I loved his car, and I loved his whole rap, and I said, I'll take that. I spent a lot of my life sort of eyeballing the world and saying, I want to be like that. I want to have that. And then I programmed myself to figure out how to go get that.
Yeah.
So I came out of rehab in November of 90. I, against medical advice, quickly went right back into the brokerage business, and nobody wanted to hire me. Everybody was like, bro, you don't drink? No. You smoke a little weed, right? I said, no, I'm abstaining right now. I'm an AA. You're an AA? I go to me. Yeah. Back in 1990, it was like a weird thing. And that wasn't cool. It wasn't trendy. It was very secretive. There were a lot of people in the program, but no one talked about it. And here I am. My story is so public. I'm all over the place. And people wanted big balls, Ross Mandell, drinking, drugging, smoking, his desk, all these different things. And I'm stone cold sober, and I'm nervous. By the way, I hadn't done anything in my life as an adult. Remember when I was 16, this started. So emotionally, I was sort of retarded. I was behind the eight ball. I was like, what? I was like, I hadn't kissed a girl. I hadn't made love to a woman. I hadn't gone on a date.
Yeah.
I was always either under the influence, coming off the influence, over, moving to the influence, whatever. I'd done a deal, a business deal, made a pitch, nothing. I had to really learn how to feel and process feelings and learn how to sort of negotiate life again. And it was quite an adventure. And by the way, I didn't sleep for a year. So I was taking like 20, 30 Valiums a day by the end of my run, so to speak. And the doctor said, listen, it's okay. You'll sleep when you sleep. I said, Doc, what if, can you die from lack of sleep? And he laughed. He goes, no, when you're ready to sleep, you'll sleep. I'll never forget one night. It was like midnight. And I just felt like myself, my eyes were closing. It never happened to me since I got out of rehab. And all of a sudden, my eyes closed. I'm so tired. And then all of a sudden, my eyes open. And I felt like I slept like 12 hours. I felt great. And I look at my watch and I slept like 40 minutes.
Wow.
And that was last month. And then slowly over time, just like everything else in this world, you get adjusted. The mind gets adjusted. The body gets adjusted. And all was good. And then I went back into the business and I became a very successful guy. I was at first a stockbroker, and then I did deals. I became an investment banker, and I ran a syndicate desk, and I played arbitrage, and I did a lot of these different things. And I was very successful at every aspect of the business. And ultimately, I started my own firm. I bought a firm called Roan Capital Partners. I bought it from a guy who was a limited partner at Spear Leeds Kellogg. And we wrapped it around a master limited partnership, actually an LLP, limited liability partnership. And I brought in 3 young guys, gave them each 9.9%. I gave the law firm 9.9%. And we became, in about 18 months, we became the hot firm in New York City.
And what, if we had a timeline, when was this?
This was 1995.
Okay.
And I sold it. I got out at 1997. I did very, very well. And I had a great experience. And, we're launching the wealth formula. You guys are going to hear about it later tonight. And we're offering an introduction for free. The video, the PDF, etc. For free. You can download it. And in this introduction, I tell this story about meeting these 2 attorneys. I was suing an employer who owed me like $300,000. He still owes me the money. I know you're out there. I'd like you to pay me, by the way. I'll settle for half, a quarter. Pay me. He owes me the money for years. I had a lien against his assets and all this and that. But I ended up starting my own firm, and we became just rocking successful. We're at 40 East 52nd Street. And now Blackstone is sitting in my office. That's my furniture. And I designed that place, and it was
no, but you're telling me the Blackstone was sitting in the office that you currently had.
Right now, they took the space over after eventually everybody sold out. Yes.
Wow.
Yes, it was that nice. It was a beautiful space in the best part of New York City. I mean, it must be $250 a square foot right now. I took that. I made a deal with people don't know this story, but Bank of America was acquired by a company called Nations Bank. I think they're in North Carolina. And Nations Bank acquired Bank of America and then took their name. So the Bank of America, really is Nations Bank.
Okay.
And the deal was Nations Bank was acquiring Bank of America. One of the covenants that was negotiated, Bank of America had to get rid of like 20 million square feet of space. And so they had a 1-day sale, a fire sale. So my lawyer calls me up. He says, listen, I'm sending over the most beautiful space in New York. And it's $24 a square foot. It's 12,000 square feet. I said, what's the catch, bro? It's the actual going rate at that time was about $50 a square foot, twice. He says, well, the problem is you got to let me know in an hour. I said, what do you mean? What happens in an hour? Let's make an offer. They said, no. At the end of the day, it expired. And then the older space goes to some some legal entity that has the right to auction it off, and they auction it off.
Did you close it up?
I said, I went up there and I said, what am I going to do about this? What am I? I was complaining. Like I was an old Jew even when I was a young Jew, and I'm complaining about. And the guy says, all right, I'll tell you what, we'll give you $250,000 in build out money. I said, what does that mean? I'm a stockbroker. I don't know about real estate at this point. He says, he says, whatever changes you need to make, you got to do it for $250,000. I said, well, what? He says, we're giving you $250,000. We're giving you that allowance. I said, I'll take it. Thank you. Signed the papers. I went home and I said, I think I made a great deal today. I still wasn't sure, but turned out to be an amazing deal. I think Blackstone's probably paying about $270 a foot right now for something like that. That's
wow.
But okay, so I then I sort of retired my first time while I was in that spot. How we doing on time, everybody?
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I personally love the biography part.
Let's go.
When I've heard it off camera, and I really wanted to get that to everybody, especially being the first live. But there's so many other things.
Yes, let's go.
I myself am a trader, and I want them to understand what I'm understanding being with you this last couple months.
Big trader over here.
But I still
big trader,
biggest trader.
Woo.
Okay, but I still want you to give me a flashback, because one of the most interesting things to me is when you depicted your career, and then I started kind of putting the little market knowledge I had together. Where you were 87, big crash. Everybody who didn't know that. 2000, another big crash, and 2008, biggest crash. What you did during your career at the time of that, what I thought was probably the most genius thing. Tell them what happened.
1987, October 1987. I was a big ball stockbroker at a place called D.H. Blair, 44 Wall Street. That might have been the most powerful boardroom ever. Am I right, fellas? Oh my God, we were doing 2 IPOs a week for a year. I mean, it was crazy. I'll do 500,000 shares. I'll do three-quarters. We were banging out product that was just like taking companies public. It was just an amazing thing. Morty Davis, you're I still say you're my mentor. You're brilliant, lovely man.
Hey Ross, check out that last comment there.
I can't see it.
I know that's I see
it's
these
a guy
comments
named
are flooding.
CG. Boston lived. I'm in Boston. I lived and worked in New York. I'm friends with a guy who ran your London office.
Well, what's up, baby? I'm glad you tuned in. I'm grateful. I appreciate the love and support. I want to get back. We're on a limited time schedule here.
No, we're gonna have time to answer questions at the end. So everybody stay around to the end. Stay around to the end. But we gotta get this
1987. Out. I have a very bad feeling. I'm worth $30 million. I started out with $1,500 on Wall Street. I'm literally worth $30 million. And I'm just very edgy, and I'm very concerned. Things seemed, a lot of handwriting was on the wall. Maybe it was my addiction, I don't know. But I said, you know what, I'm out of here. I was being recruited all over the place. I took an upfront check from a place called Prudential Base. Prudential was the insurance company. They were looking to build wealth management. Exactly the worst time in history. October 1st, 1987. They gave me this beautiful plush office in right at Madison Square Garden, the Long Island Railroad, Penn Station, overlooking the entrance to the Garden and Penn Station, a big windowed office. And they gave me a check for $300,000 up front. October 1st, 1987. I signed the deal, $300,000 in my pocket, plus I get my whole business. What? I'll see you later, fellas. So I left Wall Street on Midtown, and there's something called the ACAT system. So when you transfer from one firm to the other firm, remember, this is before the internet, before Google, cell phones, everything. There was no connectivity like that. They had some sort of back office thing where they take all your accounts. You got to send out these forms. People got to sign them, send them back, snail mail. Remember old-fashioned life. And then you got to submit them. And it takes about 3 weeks for all your accounts, their positions, stocks, bonds, cash, etc., to be transferred over. So it's October 1st, 1987. I get all these papers signed, and I'm sitting there at Penn Station, Madison Square Garden, where the Knicks just lost. I was brokenhearted yesterday. Brunson's wrist. It was a crushing defeat. But the Pacers, I never saw a team make so many shots. So, especially in a Game 7. And all of a sudden, October 19th, 1987, my accounts are still in transfer. So I have no access to them. The guys at Blair have no access to them. Beige has no access to them. They're about a week from being delivered to us at Prudential. and the stock market crashes. When I say crashes, understand something. The Dow Jones was an all-time high of about 2,000 in those days. 2,000. When I started in the market, it was 1,000. It climbed up 1,000 points to 2,000. It was, oh my God, it was like, this is a new thing. And nobody could believe it. And at 2000, one day, we lost over 500 points in one day. That's 25% in one day. It was more than 25%, but a little more. Okay. And then by the end of the week, it was close to 30%. So we're at 40,000 Dow roughly right now. That's like going down 10,000 points in one day.
Oh, wow.
And we didn't have electronic trading like we have today. And all the market makers didn't have what they have. And we still had auction markets and specialist posts at the big board and all that kind of stuff. So they just stopped answering their phones. So people called up and said, sell, sell, sell. The world's ending. I'm losing all my money. I said, bro, I can't do anything. I'm sorry. I couldn't sell my own stock. I was stuck. Everything was in transfer. And the world changed overnight. And for me, I had made this deal, gotten all this upfront money. I left all my friends, my support down on Wall Street, D.H. Blair, went to this strange new office, and it was the worst day anybody ever remembered. I mean, a guy in the office next to me passed away that day in front of he had a heart attack. All his money was in the market. Lovely guy, name was Edgar, and had a heart attack at his desk. So everybody was like dizzy. 2 weeks later, Prudential Base sent me a letter saying they want the money back. Market conditions have changed. I wasn't in our contract. So they made it very tough or untenable for me to stay there. So I resigned. I kept the money. I left, and they sued me on the last day of the statute of limitations, like 7 years later. We settled for $5,000.
Oh, that's a win.
It's called a good trade.
That's a win.
It was the beginning of like a death spiral for me. And I just said, what? And already my addiction was out of hand. And I just was, I was feeling something I never feel. I was depressed. I don't really understand what depression is. I just didn't feel good. And a lot of it was the drugs and alcohol. But at the time, I didn't realize that. The drugs and alcohol just made me even keel. I didn't even get high anymore. I just sort of like, I needed that hit to level off. I needed that pill, that tablet, that drink. And this was 1987, 88. I eventually went to another small firm. I hit a series of a few firms. But what happens is it was a crushing blow for the whole street. It had been, 40, 50 years, since 1929, roughly 58 years since the last big crash. And so it was a day of reckoning. Firm after firm after firm, fund after fund, institutions just started to fold up, go out of business. So I basically hung out. I had some money still, and I decided at some point that I was going to move to Israel and join my brother, and I was going to buy a nightclub. I had scoured. I had gone to Israel to visit. My brother lives in Israel, and I was going to go buy a nightclub and a disco in Tel Aviv. And looking back, I should have done it. It's rocket would have been worth $1 zillion today. And that was my answer. It's called in the program Doing It Geographical. It's a great plan if I didn't have to take me with me.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I was the problem.
The king of the club.
Everybody I know that has a problem, they keep moving around and they don't realize that the only problem is they take it themselves.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Well, there's hope and abundance everywhere. But if you're bringing the problem, the cancer with you, then guess what? So I get a call from a guy, very slick, a guy, one of the Sands brothers. Yes, you, Stephen. And never heard a guy like this. Great sales guy, beautiful looking man. Offered me a great opportunity. Come work for us. We represent an old line firm headquartered out of Chicago called Robin Renshaw. So I go work over there. They talked me out of going to Israel. They offered me a great deal. I built my last big business prior to my entrance into rehab, and I'm making all kinds of good money building a huge business. I'm doing big trades. I mean, it was really a beautiful experience. But at the end of the day, at this point in time, my addictions got the better of me. So I got well. But so in 1987, I made a great deal. I walked away with $300,000 in my pocket, and ended up walking away from the business and just keeping money. So I did okay. I did better than most people. Most people just go wipe clean. In 2000, the dot-com crash. So now, after experiencing 87 and after experiencing sobriety, one of the things that got me when I got clean was all of a sudden I had amazing clarity. I don't know if I had clarity, the whole world had clarity. I was joining the rest of the world. But all of a sudden I'm walking around, I'm not fucking stoned all day. I'm not in a fog. And I began to see and understand things.
Yeah.
I found life very easy. I don't know why. Life was such a struggle when you have to get pills and you have to get weed and you have to get blow. And you got to call this one, that one. Everything was an effort. All of a sudden, I'm like, I'm up in the morning and I'm dancing around. I'm singing and I'm annoying as fuck in the morning. And, I'm a happy guy. And I saw what was going on in the 90s with, I'm trading my own account. I'm making a fortune of money, .com this, .com that. I mean, what are you kidding? Guy has a post office box. It says .com and they want to take him public, give him $1 billion. And I just said, there's something wild here. So I sat with a pile of money. And then when the market crashed, March of 2000, I was sitting at home. By this time I'm married. I have a baby. I have a beautiful beach house, place in Manhattan. And I'm watching all these people parade on CNBC. They just don't get it. I'm listening to commentator after commentator talk about the market. And I say, what are all these people, stupid? And I said, there's a real opportunity here. And so I called my attorney, a corporate attorney who I love and have a lot of respect for. Rick, how are you? And I said, I'm starting a company. I want to name it after my daughter. Her name is Sky. We're going to call it Sky Capital. He goes, I don't think you can get that name. It's a too popular name. I said, Rick, do me a favor. Just check it out for me. He goes, I don't want to waste your money. I don't waste your time. I said, please waste my fucking money. I just had a feeling. And you know what? He calls me back a little bit. He says, I got the name. Thank you, Rick. But it was good advice. And formed a company. And I put in some money and I raised $9 million. And at the time, everybody thought I was nuts. My proposition was, I'm going to raise some money, and then I'm going to acquire the assets of all these sort of burned out broker dealers and trading firms. Because what I saw in 87 is everybody got smashed.
Yeah.
But you know what? Wall Street is Wall Street. Business is a financial business. It comes back to life. It's like a field, a beautiful garden that gets wasted. And next thing you know, a year later, you look back and you see new buds growing and flowers. It's beautiful. I said, wow, that's where you want to be at the beginning, right? You want to buy it when it looks like dog shit, and you want to sell it when everybody thinks it's beautiful, right? That was 40,000 right now, guys. You're starting to get the message. So I acquired assets from like 9 firms. I hired a bunch of guys. We opened up an office on Wall Street and finally got approval, which was, because of my history, was a very big undertaking. And then I went to London. I convinced a bunch of people to take me public. And I went public in London on the AIM stock. The AIM is the NASDAQ of London, the emerging growth section of the London Stock Exchange, in June of 2002. We went public at £1.85, and we closed that day at £2.25. We're up 40p, which was like roughly a 25% increase. And we were the number 1 performing stock for the next 2.5 years.
Wow.
Correct. And then I went on national television, CEO on the hot seat, and they used me as a way to sort of say, we're back in business in the city. The city is the version of Wall Street. It's 1 square mile of business in London, and ended up going public there and buying a firm there. And a couple of friends of mine in London gave me a 30,000 square foot office for nothing. Just had to pay rates, no rent. And we built a really nice UK office. Am I right? You can testify to that. And then I raised a bunch of money, serious money, and we created a hedge fund, a venture capital fund. We called it Sky Venture Capital. And I bought a British publisher, and I bought a medical device company, and I bought 5 or 6 companies, all in the Homeland Security space. Because remember, 9/11 had happened.
Yeah.
So right after 9/11, I got a call from a friend of mine who's was a United States congressman, now retired. And he said, Ross, I just came out of a meeting, and our government is about to launch a new agency in Washington. It's going to be Homeland Security, and it's going to dwarf everything. And they're going to have an unlimited budget in the Homeland Security space, you got to get into that space. So I think I put up $1 million or $2 million, raised $30 million, and launched Sky Global Secure Holdings. And eventually, we built that into a very serious company and just missed $1 billion IPO by literally a few minutes, 10 minutes. So that's another whole story. We're running out of time. So in 2008, 2000, I used the correction, the crash, the dot-com bubble I used that. I saw it coming and I used it to my advantage. I acquired assets for really pennies on the dollar. I don't want to say a dime. I'm bullshitting. It was pennies on the dime. People were handing me their assets. Please, you just take it off my hands, literally. Brokers, traders, bankers, the whole thing. And I collected all these assets and I built them up. And then we went public, as I told you, in the recovery from the correction or the crash in 2000. In 08, 09, I was already dealing with the FBI problem. The FBI came into my place in 2006, November of 2006. And the market was booming and on its way up. And we were under investigation. And it was a whole big tale to tell. And a bunch of the wealthy shareholders and institutions came to me and said, Ross, listen, your involvement is causing us a lot of trouble. We want to buy you out. We want to take you out. We want to give you your stock. It's just not hostile. We love you, respect you. And they were very nice and very kind. And I signed a letter of intent to sell Sky Capital and all its subsidiaries and all the portfolio companies, et cetera, in September of 07. At that time, the Dow had just made a new high. It was 14,400 the day I signed the papers. Highest it's ever been. Just like it is today. And it was just too much of a burden with the investigation and the newspapers and all the scuttlebutt on Wall Street. So I agreed to sell, and we closed the deal March 31st of 08. The due diligence took about 6 months, and by that time the Dow had gone down from 14,000, like I just said, to around 10,000. Again, 2008 March 31st, I got paid, and I retired from the business. I literally resigned, said, you got it, fellas. And I went off to build an MMA franchise called the AFC with guys like Dan Lampert and Malky Kawa and Don King. And we were on the verge of blowing that up. And at this time, the UFC was worth about 100 million. Today it's valued, I think, at 12 billion. So I had good vision and good insight into what was cool and hot and what was coming. Unfortunately, I got indicted by the federal government in 09. So the answer to the questions, at each and every critical point where the markets hit highs, right before the downturn, I was able to take advantage of it financially. And by the way, I expressed my opinion. I'm not a quiet person. Yeah. So I'm very happy to share my views with people. And for the first time ever, I've been convinced by great people like the Delgado boys and others to go public with my stuff, because I seem to have excellent foresight. Oh yeah, into a lot of different areas of business, the capital markets, currencies. I know that's a big topic today. Crypto this and crypto that. I'm a big fan. Bitcoin 67,000. I told you to buy Ethereum under 3,000. I saw it at 3,100 something today. They missed out. So there's so much wisdom, experience, and knowledge to share. I'm on social media, I'm on the internet, and like all of you, everybody's got an opinion. You got all these geniuses, they're about 23 years old, and they're telling you how much money they're going to make you. And I love the Tate brothers, Andrew Tate. I'm a huge fan. Tristan Tate, what a good-looking, handsome guy, and they're fit. And he was a world champion kickboxer, and he tells you to join the real. He's going to tell you how he's going to make you all this money trading. What did this guy ever trade? What is his experience in the pits? Trading commodities, trading currency, trading in the financial markets. I mean, no, I have love and respect for these guys, but they're kids to me. Yeah. You're all kids, 30s, 40s. I see a guy at 57 years old, Ray, what's shaking, baby? And, he's a great guy and he helps me, but I'm 67. I'm 67 with about 100,000 miles on me. I've had I rode my 67 years hard. Yeah. And I have a lot of experience. I have a lot of wisdom to share. And where are we on time, everybody? No, but
right before we cross in, I want to hear that
Let's
story.
go.
What's that story that when you were incarcerated, you were telling me that it was one of your first encounters with other inmates, and everybody was I guess showing where they're from and telling where they're from, and then they go.
All right, so
and they tell you.
I get to this compound. I check into the prison. There's some great stories that I'm going to be sharing with everybody. I mean, really, stuff you can't even believe. I'm just going to share that with you. If you want to hear prison tales, you came to the right place. You're not going to believe the shit I went through. But so, one of the first things when you get on the yard, you walk, a lot of guys, everybody knows everything. Everybody is sort of a predator or an opportunist or an alpha guy or wannabe alpha guy. And so they come up to you and say, so where you from? I'm from New York. I live in Florida. Family's in Florida. He said, okay. He goes, what street you from? I said, excuse me? Bro, I'm from, Ziffel Hill in Nutley. That's a rough street, bro. Turned it's a real trap place. I said, okay. He said, where you from? From North Philly. I'm from 19th and Lyon. It's a real rough place. Where you from? Avenue D, this and that, Washington, D.C. He's a real rough street. I'm sitting there listening to these guys, every race, color, and creed, every size, shape, religion, you wouldn't believe it. And where you from, Mandell? I said, let me tell you what street I'm from. I'm from Wall Street. They said, Wall Street? I said, yeah. If there's only one street in the world you want to be known on, that's Wall Street. Because that's where the alpha dogs are. They said, what do you mean? I said, how much product do they sell on Nutley Street and Lyon Street and 17th Street Northwest? On Wall Street, they trade $2 to $3 trillion each and every day. And these guys are like, I said, how many kilos is that, fellas? 2 to 3 trillion a day. So if you want to be known in one street in this world, that's Wall Street. That's a small little smidgen of a story.
And I don't know, that story always stuck with me. That's why it's
kids.
It's
kids.
Yeah. Now look at what the time is crunching. We told everybody that's in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, you got to get on the Discord. We will drop. Well, it's actually in his bio in every single social media channel. He
sign on to my Discord channel. We are going to.
It's also in the description in the YouTube video.
The description is in the YouTube video. The Discord just started. It is so many changes, so many updates are coming to it. If you're not in, I guarantee you're going to want to be in. If you're an upcoming trader, current trader, don't know how to trade, it's definitely something
we're going to share intimate knowledge with you day to day, week to week, to your benefit.
Yeah.
So sign into my Discord channel. Don't be shy. Don't be afraid. Don't be timid. You got to go for it sometimes in life. What else? Where are we?
I mean, my favorite part. Let's talk about
the wealth formula, the curriculum. We're launching.
I want to save the best for last because
we have a minute.
We got a minute.
A minute.
We got a minute. This guy, he's actually a part-time comedian. He doesn't tell anybody this. It's something I've learned over the last couple of months.
I'm launching the wealth formula. All the knowledge, everything that I've been teaching guys on the street, guys on the side, etc. All the knowledge. We created an online curriculum called the Wealth Formula.
Yeah.
How to take an idea and turn it into $1 million business. How to select the right legal entity. Where to incorporate. Elon Musk. You never would have incorporated in Delaware if you took my course. We're incorporated in Nevada, where you should have been incorporated. Okay? We're going to teach you how to write a pitch, how to create a pitch deck, a vision board. We're going to choose the right legal jurisdiction. You want to be an onshore trust, an offshore trust, an LLP, an LLC, an S Corp, a C Corp. There is so many choices today. We're going to show you how to navigate the waters to take a product, a service, a process, a simple idea, and turn it into $1 million business. We're going to show you how. There are two types of people in this world. There are workers and there are bosses. We're going to show you how to be a boss if you're a worker. No more. Sign up for our course. We're giving it away free. The introduction, there's a video and a written PDF module. It's free. Fill out the questionnaire and get it and watch it and eat it up. And the rest of the course is 12 modules, video modules, and 108-page written text. There is nothing like it on planet Earth. We bought every single online course. There's no one that teaches you how to go into business. If you couldn't afford college, if you didn't get an MBA, this is like getting a 2-year Wharton MBA, but times 5. I promise you're not going to believe how good it is. So the wealth formula, we're launching it now. You got a chance to get a free download, upload, whatever you call it. You get the video.
And that's it. So right at the end, we've already created what we're gonna give away as the introduction and a PDF video. You're gonna be able to get a glimpse because the amount of knowledge that's in this is breathtaking. If you know anything about contracts, starting a business, I'm very young, so I got into that not too long ago. And contracts cost money, and agreements cost so much money that you're already starting negative as a business. So getting his formula, we're talking about maybe over 30, 40, 50 contracts, templates already built out. Easily over
every
$10,000.
document you need to go into business. Every document.
It's insane.
Corporation, the covenants you need, board minutes, board notes.
I've never seen a program.
Need. It does not exist. It would cost you $100,000. You can get this whole thing for bupkis. Please check it out. Go to my website, sign on the form. I promise you will not be disappointed.
Yeah, we're gonna drop that link below. It's gonna be a link that's gonna take you right there. You got to sign up. You got to give us the information we need to
fill out the form completely and get it for free.
We're gonna keep you in a chain that we're gonna keep on giving you a
free downloads
and PDF forms that go with these downloads. You're not gonna get the full curriculum because we will be announcing at the end for the launch of the curriculum what you're gonna get, because you're gonna get him, and you're gonna get him potentially. You're going to get him live teaching you the formula himself. So not to give away too much, I want to get into right now, Ross.
6:05.
No, it's all right. We can go a little over.
Oh, okay. I thought we were time constrained.
No, we got to keep
you. Wrap it up. What about Q&A? You said you promised them Q&A.
I am.
Give me a question.
Let's do it. Let's do questions.
Who has a question? Don't be shy now.
Let's get some good questions, though.
They're being shy right now.
While we wait for them to ask a question, go over some of the questions you had.
Okay, so I mean, for me,
yes,
I get you every day, but for me as a trader right now, I've learned so much from you. I've probably learned what I've learned the last 4 to 5 years in the last 4 to 5 months with you. What do you think right now? Tell me what's cooking. If I look up right now, okay, and let's see right here. I got my handy dandy notebook. If I look up, let's say,
too much. It's too much. Let me just give you an overview. Right now, we are at one of the most interesting points in the history of the capital markets. Why do I say that? You have all three major averages, the Dow, the S&P, and the NASDAQ, all at or near their all-time highs. They're not at highs, recent highs. They're at all-time historical highs. And guess what? I think we lost everybody. And guess what? This is an election year. The White House is not going to allow this market to crash. You have a built-in hedge, a built-in cushion that you would never have if it wasn't this exact moment in history. The White House is barely holding on. The polls suggest he might lose. They desperately don't want to give up power. They control the most powerful, richest nation in the world. They're not going to give it away easy. And therefore, if that market collapses, guess what? Sayonara, Joe.
Ross, we got a question.
Yes, what's the question?
From the Big Dog 99. What stock should I buy right now?
The Big Dog 99. If you put me to the test like that, I have to say it's probably a stock everybody owns. How do you not buy NVIDIA? NVIDIA is they're coming out with earnings Wednesday, I believe, after the close.
Yeah.
The street's expecting $24 billion. $24 billion in earnings. What? How many chips do they have to sell? And the secret is their data center business is booming. Every single thing that they're going to build today and for the next 5 years already sold. Guess what? The street is expecting $24 billion. I'm told on the QT that they could come out with $26 billion. If they do, they're going to rock that stock. They're going to rock the NASDAQ. I'm a long player. As I started to say before, you got to hedge. Even if they miss, guess what? The White House is not letting this market go down. I'm in NVIDIA for 1,100, maybe 1,200 hours a share. It's not like they're going to stop selling their chips. It's not like AI is over. Not like people say, you know what, artificial intelligence, that's artificial. I'm going to move it to something else. Wrong. Until you have quantum computing, AI is where it's at. You know, I believe that the market is way overbought. I believe especially the techs are overbought and overdone. But this NVIDIA going into earnings 48 hours from now, guess what? They're going to be spectacular no matter what. And even if it trades down, then I buy more. Why? Because this stock's going higher. Everybody already owns it, and everybody wants to own more. Enough said. Big dog, you got me.
Now, Ross, also tell them, guys, this is not financial advice. This is simply Ross giving his opinion. This
Correct.
is simply us thinking what
I am not a financial advisor. I'm not a broker. I'm not soliciting. Somebody just asked me what I think. It's my opinion. And, you know, please do not buy or sell securities on my opinion. I make your own opinion. I just told you what I think. Got me?
Tell them about oil. We think about oil. I'm in oil right now, man.
I love energy. I love Chevron. I love the yield. I love the downside protection. If Trump wins this election, these stocks are going to go nuts. As it is, I think that the administration realizes their EV push is hit a wall.
Yeah,
people just don't want it. We're not ready. You know, our electrical grid is not ready for it right now. And you know, the amount of manufacturing headaches that go in to these EV products will cause more pollution and more corruption of the environment than the EV car will ever, provide a solution for. So I think that, you know, Chevron is an outstanding company. I think you can't go wrong. I think you're getting paid. They have great cash flow. You're getting paid to own the stock. Check out the yield. And, you know, I love the energy stocks. I love the oil and gas sector. Love it. I love Micron. I love AMD. Love. I like Uber. I think Uber is good for 25 points. You know, I got a call today. I like Plug Power. I really like that stock. I think you gotta run up to an easy run to 10, 12, maybe 20. I think the stock was trading like 3.25.
I would love 75, but
so I'm just saying, I think that could be a big mover. Okay, I think that's enough for today. I have to go attend the Luxury Chamber of Commerce. I am the guest speaker, even though I'm a little chatted out. I got to change my shirt and then rush up to Fort Lauderdale and share some more of my personality with them. I love you guys. I'm so grateful that you tuned in. All of you people, my old friends, family, etc. I'm psyched to share all this with you. We're going to be coming to you every week. Sometimes twice a week.
We're coming again this Friday.
And he's killing me, this guy. But tune in. Check out the website, rossmandell.com, 2 S's, 2 L's. Check out the Wealth Formula. It is life-changing. That I promise you.
Last question before we leave. Last question.
I got to go.
What's a good dividend stock?
A dividends plan, man.
I like Chevron.
Done.
I like the upside. I like the yield. It's a double bang for your buck. But I want more questions. So next week I'm prepared. I'm more prepared.
Yeah, Friday. We're actually to come back this Friday, same time, 5 p.m.
Done.
We're going to answer more questions, get more into the market.
Done.
See
Tune
what
in
you guys
Friday,
do.
5 p.m.
Make sure that links about to get dropped right now to sign up, get your free videos, get your free PDF, understand what he's talking about.
Link is in the description.
The link is in the description. So make sure you get there. There's going to be a chain of videos, PDFs being sent to only the people that sign up for free. Get in, get out, and we're signing out.
All right, guys. Discord channel. I'll see you guys soon.